I'm Midge Hill. Our headline story, Cowboys superstar Michael Irvin indicted by a Dallas grand jury.
Today's decision comes about a month after Irvin was caught in a motel room with drugs, 2 women, and a former Cowboy player. Tonight, Irvin is charged with possession of cocaine and marijuana. 11 News reporter Mike Tobin is live at the Crowley Courts building in Dallas. Mike, trouble ahead, obviously, for Michael Irvin.
Right, he could be in trouble with the NFL, and although it's not likely, he could face as much as 20 years in prison for the cocaine possession charge. But now he's getting his strategy together to fight the charges he was indicted on today, and he intends to fight because his lawyer says Michael Irvin is an innocent man. This is Michael Irvin, the star wide receiver, but today it's also Michael Irvin, the defendant, headed home, released on $5,000 bond.
Michael Irvin will plead not guilty because he is not guilty of this offense and will be tried in a court, not in the press. Thank you.
Angela Beck, who was the original person charged, was also indicted along with her friend Jasmine Nabwangu. Here's the rundown of the charges. Michael Irvin charged with possession of cocaine, more than 4 grams, less than 200, and possession of marijuana, less than 2 ounces. Angela Beck was indicted on the same charges. Jasmine Jennifer Nabwangu got a lighter indictment, possession of cocaine less than 1 gram and possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. Of the 4 people who were in the hotel room, only Alfredo Roberts avoided any charges.
Are you feeling relieved, Mr. Roberts?
Actually, no. Yo, go and get your room so you get all. Let me get all the pieces there. Back up a little bit now. We're gonna walk now. Please, y'all. Let us walk. Thank you.
With the lightheartedness gone from Irvin's style, Alfredo Roberts later returned to the courthouse to walk alongside his friend and former teammate as they headed home to wait for his day in court. Now, we just got a statement from the NFL saying the NFL is aware of the charges and they will closely monitor Michael Irvin's case. Players convicted of drug-related actions are subject to disciplinary action by the NFL Commission. And if Irvin is convicted, he could be put into a drug program subject to 10 drug tests per month, and failure to comply would mean could result in a suspension from the NFL.
All right, Mike, how about Alfredo Roberts now? He showed up at the courthouse again today, but he wasn't indicted. Is he in a position where he'll have to testify against Irvin?
Well, that is a very good question. We asked Alfredo Roberts' attorney that. He says he doesn't know. We'll probably have to wait till the trial itself to see if Alfredo Roberts is called to the witness stand.
All right, we'll see the wheeling and dealing that takes place in the legal circle on this one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike Tobin.
So what are the Cowboys saying about today's indictments? 11 News reporter Steve Pickett joins us live from Valley Ranch. Steve, what's the reaction out there?
Well, we actually do have formal announcement from the Cowboys, a statement just released for the last 5 minutes from Jerry Jones on behalf of the Cowboys organization. It reads as follows: "This has been a difficult week for the Dallas Cowboys organization, and we want to express our deep concern for the entire Irvin family. This is a matter that is in the hands of the authorities, and we hope that it will be resolved as quickly and as constructively as possible. We don't believe it would be fair to say any more while the legal process is ongoing." That is the statement from the Cowboys as of this hour. And it is also fair to say this is not the first time the Cowboys have encountered this kind of problem. Players who worked out at Valley Ranch this afternoon kept quiet for the most part on the Irvin indictment. Cowboy Bill Bates did offer his support for his teammate.
And the way I'm looking at it positively is that Michael will definitely become a better person because of all this.
Michael Irvin is clearly the most prominent player of the 90s era to face such trouble. Last season, defensive tackle Leon Lett and former defensive back Clayton Holmes were both suspended for violating the NFL's drug rules. They both tested positive for illegal drug use. Irvin's not been convicted of anything yet, so it is unclear what impact this indictment will have on his career. The NFL punishes those who use drugs, not those just accused of possessing them. And you heard from Mike Tobin's report, an official statement from the NFL. Again, their focal point is on those who are caught using drugs and also those who are convicted. And again, they stressed in the report that we've received from them earlier today that we're only talking about allegations and accusations against Michael Irvin at this point. If there is indeed a conviction, then the NFL will deal with that.
Well, Steve, there's not much comment coming from Valley Ranch, but there's got to be a lot of concern out there.
You know, clearly there is. You can see it in the reaction from those players who decided not to talk to us. This is a very sensitive issue for many of them. Obviously, this is the offseason, not many of them here. But when you have problems like this is indeed a family, and most of the reaction is we're going to deal with this from a family standpoint and deal with it only from a very personal nature. It is unclear, however, at some point in time they would have a public press conference to deal with this because obviously there's so many fans out there who want some kind of reaction from those players and, of course, Jerry Jones and the others.
Indeed they do. Okay, Steve Pickett live at Valley Ranch. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. And there is certainly no loss of words from Cowboys fans about today's indictment. Here's some reaction.
I kind of think it sets a bad example for the young kids. And whether or not he did it or not, I just think a guy like that in that sort of a position really has a responsibility. And I think he failed to live up to that.
And they spend that kind of time going after it, dragging it on. And because he's a celebrity that he is, it seems like they went after him.
I don't think he was in that hotel room playing Monopoly with these two women and the other guy. I don't think they were playing cards or anything like that. I believe he was indicted. Rightfully so. He needed to be.
After Michael Irvin's grand jury indictment, he posted a $5,000 bond, indicted today. No court date has actually been set, and we'll have more on this story tonight on 11 on 11 after the basketball game.
And our other
I want Michael Irvin to win this lawsuit. All right? I want him to win this big-ass fucking lawsuit. I want him to win all the money he wants, okay? And then I want him to be reinstated and resume his career. Like that shit never happened and whatnot. A lot of people don't realize that. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I hope it turns out in his favor. But a lot of people don't realize this motherfucker is battle-tested for Me Too, all right? Pre-Me Too, all right? Back in the day, 1997, he caught a case, a Me Too case, from a female, like 23-year-old female, and he beat those charges, and it was proven that she had fabricated. It was proven that she had fabricated the story, and at the time she was under the Rape Shield law, so we really don't know who she is, but I have a pretty goddamn good idea, like which person it might be, because I believe the same person, this 23-year-old accuser, who was also a stripper or something. Like her and her compatriot were called in a hotel room with Michael Irvin. They got in trouble for like cocaine possession and some other shit. And then later on, she gave him a courtesy. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But details are sketchy on the internet. But if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but like she rewarded this motherfucker. I mean, she was pissed off. Maybe he didn't bail her out or something, but she rewarded him with a false accusation, saying that him and some associates had their way with her on a pool table in one of the guy's houses and whatnot. It was determined that Irvin hadn't been to the house in some years and whatnot. And he had proof of it, and charges against him were dropped, and subsequently the case fell apart, and the DA considered filing a misdemeanor charges against her for filing a false police report. That's the way things should play out in today's society, although I think that the consequences for filing a false allegation should be heavier. Okay, I think you should do like a couple years in a slammer for that shit. Okay, plain and simple. And that's why I feel like Michael Irvin should win his case. He also survived a second rape charge. He beat that one while I think he was in the playoffs or something, whatever team he was with, and this shit just popped up. And Gloria Allred, the vampire that chases black men and shit to suck out their resources, he survived an attack by Gloria Allred, and that accuser or whatnot. He beat that charge too. And the majority, the racist media reported that was a technicality, kind of similar to the way when Cosby beat his shit after 3 years doing the minimum time. They reported it as a technicality and shit because they're sore losers. White supremacy is sore losers, man. They hate to see black people getting over and shit. Ever since OJ got over and shit, they've been gunning for black celebrities. Like, this is hunting season. And this motherfucker, he went through hunting season. Like, I don't know if this is his third or fourth time, but he was well and truly battle tested and shit. That's why when he took the photograph with the fans, He wanted to go outside into a well-lit area and take that photo, you know. And then he was going to his hotel room. He felt safe talking to the woman for less than a minute, and she still tried to clout chase and get money and shit. And I want her to be punished for this and excoriated, and I hope her fucking identity is leaked online and shit. No one's looking for her. No, Michael Irvin doesn't give a shit about her except getting money out of her purse and shit, because she came for his wig and shit, and they robbed him of money and bonuses and shit. They cleaned out his pockets, you know. That was a collateral damage, was his fucking pockets and his presence on the Super Bowl announce team and shit, and doing coverage and appearances. That's a lot of fucking money and shit. That bitch need to pay. The hotel needs to pay, and the motherfuckers that jumped the gun that didn't have his back need to pay. You know, if it was that racist motherfucking Skip Bayless or somebody had caught that charge, they would be defending him and shit. You know, he wouldn't. He would still be on the fucking TV, and they would downplay it and shit. But because Michael Irvin has that past, and because he doesn't have the complexion for protection, they tried to throw him in the mix and shit. So he responded with a big ass fucking lawsuit. And I think that a lot of these guys need to respond with lawsuits, because I feel that anytime you see these fucking allegations, and there's always some sketchy shit like, oh, well, I went to his room at 3 a.m. to like have a lollipop and shit. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out. You know, I'm just tired of this sketchy shit. It's a double standard. We need to strike a blow, stab a stake into the heart of feminism and shit with fucking financial consequences, if nothing else. Okay? And I don't want to say how I feel about it if you can't win, you know, economically and shit. I don't want to say, you know, it's not politically correct and shit, but it needs to be consequences for all this bullshit lying and whatnot. This shit stems all the way from back in the day with fucking Emmett Till and shit, with these goddamn false allegations, even before him and shit. There's been a history of black men and, you know, women lying and these motherfuckers paying with their lives and shit, you know. I'm just tired. I'm tired of this kind of shit. And I want Michael Irvin to win this fucking case, and fuck that bitch.
Come on, man.
Please.
No.
Please. Get in your feet.
No.
Please. Please.
Come on, man.
Please. Please.
Stop.
Please.
Get up, man. Get
Please. 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 Please.
No.
Please.
Stop, man.
Please.
No.
Please. Please.
Let me go.
Please.